Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
That sound means it's time for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I am your host, Chase Smith, and with me, he covers your Cleveland Cavaliers for Sports Illustrated, the one, the only Sam Amico. Sam, what's up, man? The Cavs are playing incredible basketball.
They're playing very well. I will give them that. They look like a different team under JB Bickerstaff. They look like a it's hard to say relaxed, but they do. They look calmer, more collected, and like a more professional outfit since the All-Star break. And as we sit here and do this, they're 5-5 under JB Bickerstaff with 2 straight wins.
They are, and if you go to the game before the All-Star break, 6-5 of the last 11 games. The Cavs are surging. They're spoiling their draft stock, Sam. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. One, because this isn't a great draft, and you could probably get a player at number 5 or 6 as good as 1. You know, at least that's what a lot of people are saying. So I'm all right with it. You know what? And not only that, you could have the worst record, and with these new lottery rules, you may end up 5 or 6 anyway. So just play as well as you can. And, you know, they're not going to make the playoffs, obviously, and I don't think they're going to drop out of the top 4 or 5 slots, no matter how it goes.
Right. A couple emerging stories, Sam, since the All-Star break. Actually, we were at a game together. You know, it was great. We were at the Zydrunas Oglaskis bobblehead night on February 29th. We got to connect before the game. It was great to see you, man. Are you feeling better? You were a little under the weather a little bit.
Yeah, for a while there, man, I was really down and out, but they had to have lost that night because I'm pretty sure they're 0 for bobblehead night, and I'm not sure which game that was. Maybe couldn't have been Boston because they won that game, but I'm pretty sure they're 0 for. It might have been Utah. Was it maybe Utah that they played that night?
No, they played the Pacers. It was competitive.
Oh,
Pacers had a good fourth quarter. The Cavs were winning some of the games. It was a great game, but it was great to see you, man. Glad you're feeling better. Glad the coronavirus isn't taking its toll on the Amico household, it seems. But there have been some emerging stories for the Cavs since the All-Star break. You've done a great job covering that on Sports Illustrated. What's a bigger storyline, Sam? The emergence of Colin Sexton or the overall team playing this well under JB Bickerstaff?
I think those are close, but I'll go with the overall team playing. For one, because you know, they've had so many injuries with Drummond in and out of the lineup, Tristan Thompson in and out of the lineup. Now Darius Garland's out, Kevin Porter Jr.'s out, Tristan's out again with a scratched eye. So there's a lot going on, and they've still been able to keep games close, keep things competitive, look like, again, a real professional outfit. And I think that they've given fans something to cheer about over these last 10 games. Now, that said, I've been very impressed, and I think everybody has, with the emergence in the play of Colin Sexton. You know, he's always been a guy who plays very hard, but people are questioning, you know, how well does he, you know, is he going to be a guy who just takes a lot of shots and scores points because he's a volume guy, or is he going to be a very good scorer and team player? And I think that, you know, he has said at the All-Star break, after the coaching change, he took a good look in the mirror and said, you know, what can I do better? Can I be more coachable? Can I be a better teammate? Can I do these things better? And that has really shown through. He's always been a really good guy and a hard worker, but I just think he's getting a better understanding of the NBA game. And in fairness to him, you know, it's the end of his second year, and it usually takes guys 2-3 years to get the hang of things. And he's really been it's been great to watch his maturity on the court.
100%. No one ever doubts his work ethic. No one ever doubts his love for the game. Last year, one of the knocks that he had was he didn't have an outside shot. And I feel like every time I saw a clip of him, it was him working on his outside shot. And he has an incredible outside shot. I almost wish he would shoot outside shots more. I think that would draw defenders closer to than they would. So anyway, I think no one's questioning that. Sam, one of the things I wish that he would work on is his kind of end of quarter, end of shot clock decision making there. Not a matter of can he get a shot off. I feel like that, and I know that comes with experience, but his emergence, Sam, is it to a point where you think they can build a team around him and this young nucleus of him and Kevin Porter Jr. Now, I mean, is that kind of where Colin Sexton's at? He played himself into a foundational part of the team. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, the thing that, and I agree, his decision-making on shots needed work, and I think that has gotten better. His, the biggest knock against him was his vision. The quote unquote vision. Is he seeing guys? And I think he's done a much better job at that. And you're right, as his outside shot improves, he's going to be darn near unguardable because he can blow past guys. And JB Bickerstaff has said this, and anybody can see it using the simple eye test. He obviously is one of the fastest guys in the league with the basketball. So
he has this gear, Sam, that not a lot of players have. I think LeBron has it, which to see a man that big move that quick with the ball, it's what are you watching? And he, I mean, when he gets going, he's a blur, and it looks like everyone else is standing still. And I think Kevin Porter Jr. is deceptively fast as well, and I think that takes a lot of people by surprise. The team's playing well. The locker room is really light. I mean, you saw videos, people laughing around, goofing around, hooting and hollering. It's a different vibe, Sam, and I think you're right. That can't be overlooked or overstated with the past 10 games, how this team has played.
Yeah, one of the things you want to do if you're the Cavs right now is, you don't know who's going to be on the team next year. Obviously, Delly is playing great, filling in for Darius Garland. He's great. People are chanting MVP at these games. He's racking up the assists. And that's what you want. You want to have the type of, and we overuse the phrase culture, but you want to have that type of mindset in this locker room and on the court where, JB Bickerstaff said it best. He said, you don't want to be the one guy who's not participating in what we got going on. So when they get somebody new in here next season, you don't want to be that guy who's, on the out and out, because everybody's in this right now, very together. And JB said it the other night, there's a great bond, there's great camaraderie. And, a lot of that has to do with, I mean, you can't pinpoint it to anything other than the coaching change. And JB Bickerstaff, just, his dad, Bernie, longtime NBA coach, now a senior advisor with the Cavs. JB grew up around that, and he saw how to manage the professional personalities, the personalities of professional athletes who were, young millionaires who were playing basketball. And you can't just coach them like they're, the College of Worcester Fighting Scots. You got to coach them like they're men, because they are. And I just think JB Bickerstaff has a real understanding of how to reach his players and how to connect with his players, and also knows of the X's and O's, So I think you add all that together, and he may not have been a great fit in Memphis at the time when he was coach of Memphis, but he is a very good fit in Cleveland and the type of guy that they needed. And it's great to see, because he's a really, really good guy. I mean, he is a salt of the earth type of individual. So it's great to see all of this coming together as it has under JB Bickerstaff.
Over these last 10 games, the Cavs have victories over 3 playoff teams: Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat, and the Philadelphia 76ers. They've also beat the Spurs. And Sam, it seems like they're finally playing up to the level that we thought they could. Maybe not playoff caliber yet, but everyone knew they were way better than their 14 or 15 and whatever record, showed. And you have to think the players are relieved that they're beating teams that they should be. They're competitive against teams that they should be competitive against. I mean, they have to feel better. And so it is nice to see the players playing more relaxed, doing, just being like an NBA locker room. It was encouraging to see that, Sam. Do you get that sense as well?
Yeah, I think most fans don't care so much about the record right now because, people want that lottery pick, which is, going to be an important piece moving forward, whether it's a player that they draft or whether they trade the pick in some sort of package to land another really nice young player who's played in the league a couple years. It's hard to say, but I think most fans are fine with this sort of development stage, especially when you consider that the roster itself is a little bit clunky. It's a little bit odd. You've got the big guys in Drummond and Tristan and Love and Nance, who are the veteran guys. And then, you're going to struggle when you have young guards, which is what they do in Sexton and Garland and Porter Jr. And so the roster still has a lot of shape to take. What fans want to see, I think, is what the Cavs are giving them. That's the occasional wins, the reasons to watch, and there are plenty of reasons to watch, and close games, competitive games, and by playing hard. And the Cavs have really done all of those things over the last 10 games. Over the last 10 games, really, Chase, they've had really one real bad game, and that was the second game at Miami under Bickerstaff, the second game at Miami. They did not look good, but everything else, I think everything else, everybody else can live with, and that's what you want. You want a team out there that is giving fans a reason to watch and hope for the future, and the Cavs are doing that right now.
Yeah, I would have to say, to bring this full circle, one of the things that I've been pleased about, it's been great to see the team kind of play better. Man, I have been so pleased with Colin Sexton and his development and how he has grown into this role. And it may be more so appreciative because you're seeing Darius Garland take the opposite route that Colin took last year to this year. I feel like Colin Sexton gained steam as the season ended last year. He really kind of started to thrive and gain confidence, come into his own. And he's continued that this year. I want to read you the last 6 or 7 games that he's put up. All right, Sam, here are his points: 26, 25, 41, 32, 16, 31, averaging close to 5 assists during that time and 5 rebounds and 2 steals. That's incredible.
Yeah, he's been putting forth, and it's more than just the numbers. It's, again, we've talked about this, but the style that he's playing. He's predetermined. He wants to be a more well-rounded player. And you mentioned this earlier, but some of the people around the league who I've talked to, who were some of his staunchest critics, have come around on him and have said, this guy is really coming around. And there was nothing wrong with him before. It's just, I think a lot of people were, understandably so, as fans, get impatient and want to see that guy take that next step. Well, he's very clearly taking those very important next steps as we see. And everybody say, it should be a sixth man, or he should be coming off the bench, or package him with Love or Tristan or whatever. I think that those people aren't saying those things anymore. I think that they're seeing this guy is a very unique player and very difficult to defend, and that's all you really care about.
Do you have a NBA comp to him? Like, who is he most like in your eyes, Sam?
I've compared him a lot since the moment he was drafted to Monta Ellis, and a young Monta Ellis who was very good. I think he's kind of unique in his own way, because he can play kind of both guard spots. And I know people say, well, he's not a point guard, and he's not. Others will say, well, he's not really a true shooting guard, and they're both right. Mm-hmm. He has a style that's very unique to him, and he's just so fast. He's obviously not going to be a guy who ever racks up a lot of assists. I would be shocked if that happens, and that's okay. But the nice thing is he's comfortable on either part of the court, whether he's the main guy bringing the ball up or whether that guy is Garland or Deli or whoever, and he's playing off the ball. So he has a very unique style, and it's almost unique to him. But I'll tell you what, I like watching the games now anymore just to watch this kid play, and like to see what he's becoming. And I think he gives you a great reason for hope for next season that, you know what, this guy's only going to keep doing this, and that'll make this team exciting, and it'll make it competitive.
I will say this, being at the game, watching how he interacts with the team and how Bickerstaff kind of has his rotations, it seemed like there were two different Cavs teams. One with when Sexton was on the floor, and another team when Kevin Porter Jr. was on the floor, and it seemed really disconjointed. I asked, is that a fair assessment, or do you feel like I know they're rookies and they're still trying to play together, but is that something that they're still trying to figure out?
Yeah, in a sense, you know, with a backcourt, you're trying to figure out everything because you have two rookies and a second-year player. So it's going to be disjointed at times. It's going to be clunky. It's going to be maddening. It'll be beautiful sometimes too. But I just think that, again, you know, these guys are guys who should be, Porter Jr. and Garland should be sophomores in college, and Sexton should be a junior. So these are guys that you're kind of learning on the fly. And frankly, you know, the first under Beeline, he was a rookie. So he was trying to figure things out with a couple of rookies in the backcourt. It was a lot. There was a lot going on, and, a lot of things that weren't great. And I'm talking strictly about the court, life on the court. And it was a learning process for not only the two young guards, but also the head coach. So I think we'll see those things improve with Garland, Porter, Sexton, and that rotation improve next season. I think we'll, a steady coach and a steady program.
That's fair. We've talked about this on the pod before, Sam, so many times in basketball, and we're going to get to Week 21 slate games here in just a few moments. So many times in basketball, we've talked about before, the best player on the court matters, and that matters for a team. And it seemed like the Cavs were really struggling to find that person. I think a lot of teams struggle to find that player, that franchise-altering player. At the game, there were times where I felt like Kevin Porter Jr. was one of the best players on the floor. And I know before Sexton's emergence, a lot of talk was about Kevin Porter Jr., and he's had some mighty fine games over these last 11 games. Do you feel like Sexton's emergence is going to hinder that growth and kind of limit that, or is it going to give him room to grow into this a little more time to become this player that we see Kevin Porter Jr. could be?
Well, I think that, first of all, they're so young that it's hard to tell what their ceiling is and what their ceiling would be together. But I think it'll help. I think the way Sexton is playing is only going to open things up for everybody else. Theoretically, that's why you want good players, is because it creates better players around them. I mean, people who don't like LeBron James that I talk to, that just don't like the fact that he wins everywhere else as well. You look at guys that play next to him and how much better they are. Guys like Avery Bradley, who everybody thought was done 2 years ago, Rondo, who everybody thought was done. Just about everybody next to LeBron James plays better because he's so good. Now, obviously, the Cavs don't have a LeBron James, but the idea being that the better your main guy plays, your main scorer plays, generally it's going to lift up the other guys around him, because then more of the focus is going to be on slowing down Sexton. So if you place more of the focus defensively on slowing down Sexton, that opens things up for guys like Porter Jr. and Garland. And I think that could be the case. I'm huge. I'll be honest, Chase, we've talked about this. I'm very up in the air on Darius Garland. I don't know how good he's going to be. I've written that I've seen flashes of Nick Van Exel, but those are flashes, and I think he's got a lot of potential, but I don't know. I haven't. He's too young to make a decision on at this point. But Porter Jr. to me has been very impressive. with a very high ceiling, and he does remind me a lot of, going way back, Ron Harper, who was, a noted Cav for a while, was involved in that Danny Ferry trade, but that kind of guy who can score, is athletic, and plays with an edge. And I Kevin Porter Jr. was supposed to be a lottery pick. He just happened to drop the 30. So a lot of people thought he was a lottery pick in talent, and he is right now showing that. So I think, Sexton and Porter Jr. are very exciting. And I think that those two will be a big part of the future moving forward. And I think Garland could be in that mix as well, but I think he's still got to figure it out, a little more, I would say, than Sexton and Porter Jr. do.
Slate 21 started today, Sam. Monday. We're recording on a Monday night. Tomorrow, the Cavs travel to United Center to take on the Bulls at 8 p.m. If you're listening to this on a Tuesday, that'd be today. The Cavs play today, 8 p.m. This is a 3-game road trip. Chicago, Friday, they go to Charlotte to play the Hornets at 7, and then Saturday, back-to-back, they're in Atlanta against the Hawks at 7:30. Sam, call me crazy. Can they win all 3 of those games?
Sure they can. First of all, nobody ever told me in sports writing class that part of the job would be having to watch the Cavaliers Saturday, jokingly, because they're the 2 worst teams in the East. But that's how I'm going to be spending my Saturday night. Everybody else will be out having fun, and I'm going to hope they'll come home and read my story on the 2 worst teams in the Eastern Conference on a Saturday night. That's all in fun. But yes, the way they've been playing, of course, and the Cavs, even under Beeline, have been a pretty good road team. So I don't suspect that they'll win all
those
3.
Hotel lobby film sessions, Sam.
All those, we won't get into those. But I think that Charlotte's a team that's kind of weird. I had a buddy say to me once, "You could say anything to me at all about the Charlotte Hornets, and I wouldn't be interested." I don't care what they do. I'm just not going to be interested in the Charlotte Hornets. But they're because they're kind of that strange team that's always spinning its wheels and not making the playoffs, or getting in and getting beat right away. So I can't figure out Charlotte, but Chicago, obviously they won't have Zach LaVine Tuesday night, so that's a very winnable game. And I just like, more than winning and losing, Chase, is the way that these guys have been playing. And that's with a sense of pride. It's been gritty. It's been together. They're having fun out there. And that's what fans want to see. And I think that's what, not only fans, but GM Kobe Altman wants to see, JB Bickerstaff wants to see, Dan Gilbert wants to see. I think they want to see the team playing with a sense of pride, and they're doing that. And I hope that it continues on the road. Look, it's the NBA. Every once in a while, you're going to have an absolute clunker. You're going to come out and you're going to stink, especially when you're a younger team with younger guards. That's going to happen. But overall, more often than not, you want to have a team that plays with a sense of pride. And I think if they do that, they'll have a shot to win all 3 of these games. Absolutely.
Well, let's make some predictions, Sam. What do they come away with after the weekend? Do they come up 2-1, 3-0, 1-2? Where do you see them look? What do you see?
I'm going to say 2-1. I think that
we're back, baby.
Winning. Hey, they go 2-1, right? You know what? Now all of a sudden they're 7-6 under JB Bickerstaff, and then people are worried about that lottery pick. But let me just say this to Cavs fans: do not worry about that pick, because we saw last year they finished with the 3rd worst record, or no, 2nd. They ended up with the 2nd worst record after winning that coin flip, and they still drafted 5th. So, and then the Pelicans and Grizzlies were down in the middle, and they ended up going up top. So because of these new lottery rules, you don't have to worry about finishing with a worse record, because it doesn't really seem like it's going to help you that much. So just play your best and see what happens. I mean, they're not gonna position themselves out of the lottery or outside of a top 10 pick. So
we're gonna be in Charlotte on Friday night for a wedding. So I'll try to weekend at Bernie's myself at the wedding so I can go to the game.
You know what? You shouldn't have a real tough time getting tickets to that one.
Right.
Sorry. I don't know whether I say that with a, but it's true. If you want to get cheap tickets to that one, it should be pretty easy, because I bet a lot of people in Charlotte will be doing other things on Friday.
One of my students is getting married. I can't miss the wedding, but man, that would be fun to go catch a.
Just take the whole party. $2 tickets, everybody. Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, that does it for Cavs on the break. My shouts to Sam for coming on the show. Sam, thank you so much, man. Where can we read your stuff?
Thank you. You can follow me on Twitter at Amico Hoops, AMICO. I guess anybody listening to this should know how to spell that by now. But anyway, Amico Hoops. And then, of course, SI.com/NBA/Cavaliers. Covering a lot, obviously, trying to cover every little nuanced thing about the Cavs, but I'm also throwing tons of NBA news up there now as well, because that's being very well received. So also on the SI.com Cavs website, follow all about the Nets coaching search.
Yeah.
And you can follow me there too.
Sounds great.
I'll be there, and of course on this awesome podcast.
You can follow us on Twitter at Cavs on the Break. We always follow back. Shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network for making this possible. Sam, any final thoughts?
No, just hope that they keep it going the way they have, because I think it's been very promising, and I think it's been great for the fans to get to enjoy this season as it concludes, and then it should be an exciting offseason.
Sounds great. Mike Breen, take us out!
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.